job.
Well, the first thing I need to do is to look at the soil. And the reason we do that is to assess the soil compaction and obviously look at the thatch levels in a lawn.
Right.
Because that is one of the most key things, what the grass is growing in. So we need to know that and exactly what we're dealing with.
Okay.
And the first thing we can notice is quite a chalky sort of core we've got here.
Right.
And it's pretty dry.
Yeah.
And also we've got a little bit of subsurface thatch, but not a great deal. But one thing is very sort of certain, really, is it's quite compacted.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we'd need to advise you is to potentially have the lawn aerated, basically where we put holes in the lawn.
Yeah.
Allow water, air, and nutrients to get into the soil to help it.
Okay, so you've seen the amount of weeds that are here. What's your plan? What are we going to do?
Well, basically, as Green Thumb, we do 4 treatments throughout the year. We apply fertilisers, nutrients at the sort of set stages throughout the year to help feed the grass, thicken the grass up, and promote a nice, good, thick, lush lawn. But also, you know, the main thing here, we can see the amount of weeds, is to clear the weeds throughout the year. It usually takes 2 to 3 treatments or a season's worth of work.
And okay, what about the children? Will I have to keep them off the grass?
You don't need to keep the children off the grass for days or anything like that. We usually sort of advise half hour to an hour.
Okay.
Once the product's
and
been
if
applied.
I had a pet, that would be the same.
It would
I had
be.
a dog, yeah.
You know, for instance, grazing animals. Sometimes we ask, you know, tortoises and things like that. We sometimes ask a little bit longer. Well, the lawn in total is about 110 square metres.
Right.
Which would mean that for each treatment that we apply, the cost would be £17 a treatment.
Okay.
Which includes VAT as well. That's all inclusive.
Yeah.
So the first things at this stage we're at now would be the late summer treatment. So what that would include is us applying a granule feed to the lawn.
Yeah.
Which would again help to nourish the grass, thicken the grass up, and promote nice green colour. And also a liquid weed killer as well, which is potentially for this lawn probably the most important thing at this stage.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. We do advise not to cut the lawn for at least 3 days.
Okay.
After a treatment, but also with a lawn in this condition with this amount of weeds, it would probably be best not to cut at least 3 days before.
Okay.
The reason for that is you can see the weeds are nice and broad.
Yeah. Let's just show everybody how broad my weeds are.
If you've got a broad weed, it's going to hit, the weed killer is going to be hitting a lot more leaf, so you get a lot more success with the weed killer. For instance, if you mowed this today, you'd take a lot of the leaf coverage off. Yes. So when we spray the weed, you're not going to get enough weed killer on that leaf for it to come down into the root to obviously poison the root and clear the weeds. So.
Yeah. What about preparation that I would have to do before you came to apply the first treatment?
Well, there's nothing.
Just
really.
clear the grass of toys.
Yeah, and clear the grass of toys, and that's really it, to be honest.
Okay.
And this is the granules, obviously, we apply to the lawn.
Right.
There's 3 different feeds that include a granule feed: the spring, the early summer, and the late summer treatment. The first thing we apply is a granule feed, obviously to get the grass to grow.
Yeah.
It's really the main thing to help the grass improve, to be honest.
Yeah.
So basically we're spraying a herbicide universally over the lawn to get in contact with as many weeds as possible, and usually we expect about 50 to 60% of the weeds to die with one application.
Brilliant. I shall let you know. And that's how it's done. And the beauty of Green Thumb is they do the work for you, which is quite handy, and all I have to do now is keep the girls in for at least an hour, which isn't difficult with a biscuit or 2. And there you are, we have the sun setting, and here I'm just going to show you Dan's work. The only trace, it's all dried up now, the only trace you can see are the odd pellets that have been left here. But as he assured me, this is perfectly fine, especially if they're on flower beds. He told me not to worry at all if any had gone on all they will do will fertilise the earth. There are a few.